Laser 5 minutes live in Los Angeles. This is The Herd. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening, we're on iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1. Sirius XM Channel 83. Joy Taylor is joining me live and in living color. She is now, you can see Joy and her beautiful smile, and she's somewhere in her cool house, condo, grotto, wherever you are. You look great. And it's great to have you back on the TV side.
Thanks. It's good to be back. We're back, baby, every day.
That's right. We're making things happen. One of the things that is, I was glad Howard Stern interviewed Tom Brady this morning. It went 2 hours. And, you know, Brady's the best quarterback I've ever seen in my life. Howard's, along with Rush Limbaugh, Paul Harvey, and Marconi, probably the four most important people in a business radio that I grew up loving and still love and will love till the day I die. And so it's the convergence of two people I love. Howard, whose business model is the greatest ever, along with Oprah, and Tom Brady, who's the greatest I've ever seen. There's others close, Peyton Manning, Joe Montana, but he's the guy. So there's just been this discussion. There's not much of a market for Tom Brady. Let me ask you this. Any industry, you're in insurance, whatever you're in sales, you're in insurance, you're in pharmaceuticals. If there were 8 openings in your industry and you were up for 4 of them, is that a market? Well, that's a pretty good market. I know the Chargers thought they had him, the Patriots thought they had him, and Tampa Bay got him, and I was told, and I trust my source, Indianapolis was interested. I mean, they took Phillip Rivers, who's 0-8 against Brady. They wouldn't have taken Brady for 2 years? Really? They took the less athletic, more mistake-prone Phillip Rivers, and they cost the same. They're not going to go public with it. I'm told the Raiders sniffed around. So there was only about 8 teams in the NFL that don't have a quarterback. Half of them were interested. That's a market. Teddy Bridgewater, by the way, had a market. Cam has no market yet. There are people in the media trying to engineer a market for Cam. Admit you were wrong. He was always overrated. He had one great year. Just admit it. You're wrong. Westbrook, you were wrong. Cam, you were wrong. Melo, you were wrong. Okay, Cam will get into the league. He didn't have a market now. Tom had a very healthy market. Here he was on Stern talking about it this morning.
It felt good to be, I would say, you have this college recruiting process where all the schools come and they want to show you their best. It was a fun experience for me to experience that. I enjoyed that aspect of, seeing what other teams could offer and what other teams, what their processes were, and I learned a lot from it.
Yes, there people wanted him. He's still a very good quarterback. He's not as dynamic as Russell Wilson. He's not. He's not as dynamic as Patrick Mahomes, but he's healthier than Aaron Rodgers, and I think he's more coachable than Aaron Rodgers. And I think Aaron's really good. So there's some things about Brady today I like more than Aaron Rodgers, and there's some things, arm, athletic ability, movement, mobility, I like about Aaron Rodgers. But the list of people that are absolutely better than Tom now is pretty small. I think he's very much Matt Ryan, and I like Matt Ryan. I think I think there's a lot of Matt Ryan, Jared Goff, Tom Brady stuff. But if today I told you one game, win it all, Matt, Jared Goff, Brady, I'd take Brady. And I would take Brady with those weapons. Jay Glazer is joining me now. By the way, tomorrow on FS1 at 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific, Fox Football Now, Jay interviewed Alden Smith, the new Cowboy, and Bruce Arians this week. He's the owner of Unbreakable Performance Centers. Jay Glazer, Fox Sports NFL Insider. Let me start with this. It was so un-New England-like for Brady to go on with Howard Stern this morning, Jay. I mean, that was like, he talked about at one point his testicles. So were you surprised he did the interview?
No, I mean, look, you're saying it's un-New England-like. He's not New England anymore.
That's right.
He's Tampa. And, Bruce Arians is he's a walking party. Bruce Arians is the oldest frat boy in the history of life.
What did Bruce, you have a good relationship, a very good relationship with Bruce Arians, very tight. What did he tell you about the Brady thing that would give us a little tease to tomorrow night?
So I was talking to him throughout the whole thing, and believe it or not, while everybody thought it was a done deal, he didn't, because Tom hadn't signed it. It took him a couple of days, and he didn't sign. And the whole time he's like, at one point, Bruce actually hit me up. He said, "Do you think there's a secret team here?" He's like, until somebody signs, he's so paranoid because he's been around football for so long.
Yeah.
And paranoia is part of your DNA if you're a head coach. And he was like, is there another team? I'm like, oh, no, I think you're good, dude. I think you're good. But he really was, a lot of these guys, he was almost like, it's too good to be true.
Yeah.
And then he dives in. I'm like, what did you really think, though, you had him? He's like an hour into our first phone call. Like, hour in, I started hearing his voice change and getting excited in some of the stuff that we're going to do with him.
Oh, God, that's so great. God, what I'd pay. I'll tell you, that's a pay-per-view. If you could get that call, Glazer.
By the way, wait till you hear his answer, too, because he started his career with Bear Bryant, and he's going to end his career with Tom Brady. And I asked him, I think how insane that is. And I said, if somebody came to you with a Hollywood script and they wanted to write this, what would your answer be? So you got to watch tomorrow night. What his answer is, it is he's the only head coach who would answer it this way. Let's just say it that way.
So Tom admitted on Howard Stern this morning he made his mind up before the season. Did that surprise you?
Yep. No, I think we all thought that was happening. We all saw this coming for a while. I don't think that surprised us at all, no.
Yeah. I mean, he put his house up for sale. That's something, right? I mean, if you put your I mean,
so did his whole crew. So everybody else in his crew. So, no, I mean, we all thought this was going to come to an end at one point. By the way, I've got to say that. I kind of look at it differently than most, where Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, they were pretty much married to each other for 20 years. These guys should start a marriage counseling course. So it took 17 or 18 years for us to hear any strife between these two guys. These guys need to have a TED Talk on how to have a marriage where you don't see any breaks in it for all that time. And yet, Tom, even now, he's going out graciously. I'm sure he could swing away if he wants to, and he's not. He's doing it as classy as you get. And I do think that there's an appreciation there from both guys. But think about how long that marriage is where we didn't hear a peep of any sort of issues for 18 years.
And remember, Jay, there was a 10-year span. They won Super Bowls early and late. But they had 10 years where they didn't. So this idea, really, they had two dynasties. They had one to start for 5 years, and they had one to end for about 5 to 6 years. But they had a lot of years in the middle of this, Jay, when they got beat by good teams, sometimes at home, sometimes in Denver. So this was not, it's. And I said this before: the late Kobe Bryant and Shaq, as good as it was, by year 5, they were tired of each other. So let's just be
right. And this took a long time for them. Even if they were tired of each other, no one talked about it. Didn't get out. They didn't air it out. And everybody talks in the NFL. There's a lot that we do know about the Patriots, but people, they do talk. And it's just human nature. But it's amazing at how long they kept it together. Where other relationships you hear pretty fast, like you're saying, even in Kobe and Shaq. You hear about it all the time.
Yeah. So we're going to have a virtual NFL draft. My takeaway, just to set you up for this, my takeaway has been it's the 4 happiest days in the NFL. There's no losers. It's 32 winners. You convince yourself as a fan your 7th-round pick's going to be a Pro Bowler. I think as we face this virus, we need good news. It's a telephone business. Nobody's going to catch anything. I don't think there's been a draft in my life that has meant more emotionally and psychologically for the league and the country. It is virtual. You cross your fingers. You can get Roger Goodell on the phone. But what are your guys? My guys are a little concerned about it. Are your sources?
Yeah. Well, it depends who you're talking to. But, yeah. By the way, I think guys like Matt Rule have such an advantage. Coming from college, knowing a lot of these players. But there's definitely a concern. Look, I've talked to several GMs and head coaches about it, and I understand both sides of it. Because these guys, they're preparation freaks, and they feel like they can't prepare the way they'd like to for this. And the other end of it, I understand also, like, we need normalcy. And look, what sports are, we're supposed to be an escape.
Yeah.
That's what we are. We're escapism. So provide an escape. Now, I agree with, doing something. If you're going to do it, and do it virtually because you are supposed to stay physically distanced, right? But it's keeping us socially connected. But I understand the other point, too, of some people saying, listen, right now it's hard for us to think about football. We're thinking about people's lives. I do understand both sides of it. I don't know if there is a right or wrong answer. I think the right answer is that people stay safe. That's the right answer.
By the way, you interview Alden Smith for Fox Football Now tomorrow night, 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific on FS1. Now, as we know, he's a new Dallas Cowboy. He had substance abuse for years. And how, by the way, how is he dealing with that now?
You know, look, he originally got brought in. He actually got brought to the Fox studio by somebody who was going to AA with, Jerry Steinberg, and met me there on a Sunday. And it was about joining MVP, merging vets and players. As an ex-football player, as you know, we put these vets and these players together. And so he started there at MVP, and he really bonded with these vets. And he started opening up and becoming vulnerable, and he's really been helping. He got so good and so supportive and helpful with a lot of our vets with substance issues that when we opened up MVP in New York a month and a half ago, Alden flew in so he could talk about sobriety to the vets and players in New York. And, you know, there was a point there when he was going and we started talking. And he asked me yesterday, he said, what was the point? This wasn't part of our interview. He was like, when was it? When did you decide that you were going to take a chance on me to come back in the NFL? And I said, when Alden started looking and saying, I don't deserve another shot in the NFL. Like, I messed it up. It wasn't them. It was me. I messed it up. And he took responsibility for what his actions were. And once I heard that, and then he said to me, you know what, Jay, if I ever had a chance again, I would use my experience to help other people. Like, I would love to help rookies that come in the league and other people and get them to understand you've got to hit rock bottom before. And I started seeing this life coach version of Alden Smith, which is not the same Alden Smith that I knew.
Yeah.
So I said to him, hey, dude, you want to play in the NFL? You want this? He's like, I'd love the platform. I'm like, let's go walk this walk together. And, dude, we have him up to 287 pounds with a V. Like, I haven't seen anything like this. And, you know, we show videos tomorrow night. The first time anybody will see videos of Alden Smith, the new Alden Smith. And it's the first interview since he signed with the Cowboys. But he's just so grateful. His life, he admits he was rock bottom 2 years ago. He'll tell you that story. But he really, when I tell you he has bonded. So last week when he signed the contract, before we broke it on Fox Football Now, Alden jumped out. He was on 2 MVP calls last week. We have him in 5 different cities, so 5 different ones that we're doing virtually on Zoom. He jumped on with the New York crew to announce it to them. And he just said, guys, you have no idea how excited, like how grateful I am for you all. And one of our vets was like, oh, we can't wait for you. You know, opening week next year, you're standing on the sideline. The flag comes up, the anthem comes on. You got your hand over your heart. The fighter jets go over, and you literally have an army with you now. Like, it was so emotional and surreal. And, you know, his vulnerability. Look, muscles aren't strength. Vulnerability is real strength.
Yeah. Jay Glazer, I'm going to have him on tomorrow, too. Fox Football Now is tomorrow night. Good stuff. Alden Smith, Bruce Arians interviewed, too. Can't wait to watch that. Cannot wait to watch it. I'm over Netflix. I've seen every show ever produced by Netflix. I'm officially done with Netflix. Jay, good talking to you.
Hey, real quick, can I throw something in?
Yeah.
Real quick, we are, and I haven't announced this yet, but I want to announce it now. Next week, it's going to be next Thursday, MVP. We're going to do a special MVP for first responders, for doctors and nurses and EMT and police and firemen and anybody who needs it. We'll start sending out information next week. It'll be go to vetsandplayers.org. But those are the people that need it. And our vets, they need a mission right now. So that's what we do. We live to help other people. So we're going to have a special one next Thursday. We're going to try and do this and try and help them get through their own crisis. The people on the front lines.
Good stuff, Jay. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, buddy.
All right. Coming up next, my big, broad takeaway on a documentary I watched last night that coincides with what I saw with Tom Brady or heard from Tom Brady and Howard Stern. That's coming up.